Hello everyone, welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to Veronique. Veronique is a communication and an influencer who has used her platform to try to find her own voice. Determined to succeed on her own and to challenge the sociology theories of social mobility, Veronique studies sociology and Russia at university before joining and graduating to study social sciences at school. Passionate about social sciences issues, she has personally used her platform to solve the humanitarian issue around the world and is renowned for her work in favor of refugees. Guys, you know about the refugee crisis. This is going on and is still ongoing up to today. Veronique has not stayed silent about what's going on. She's using her platform to make a difference. Meet Veronique, and thank you so much for joining me. Hi everyone again, welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. I've got the gorgeous Veronique all the way from Paris, France, here with me. Hi Veronique, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, and you?
I'm well. I'm very glad you could make the time. I know how busy you are. And I did a little bit of introduction about you, about your humanitarian work and your social political science and all the things you do. And, getting a degree as well. I wanted to start because I think people would want to know, who is Veronique? I just wanted you to give me a little bit of background on who you are.
So I'm Veronique. I live in Paris. I work in communication and influence and CRS part of a big company. And also I have my personal work. I'm very much involved with humanitarian cause and particularly with refugees and all the solidarity part. It's very large because solidarity can be like children, with women, there is a lot of things. And so recently I go back to school and just being graduated of Sciences Po School is a kind of Ivy League, the French one, because I think from my personal point of view, when you do humanitarian, sometimes you feel like a bit frustrated when you work on the field, and if you want to change the things, maybe you can just work on amont before this with politics. This is why I came back to school, because it was not for politics reason, but for just being able to maybe to act better on these two, because my hot topics: migration, refugees, and solidarity.
Oh, I see. Now, Veronique, you're truly an amazing. You're a very beautiful woman, and I love that you found that courage, because a lot of people, when you tell them about helping others or humanitarian work, they don't understand it's not just the helping that it stops there, but also goes on to seeing how you could actually make a difference in helping people, which is something you're doing well by going to this university to go on to the political side of it. Before we get into your humanitarian work, I wanted to ask you, as a woman going into doing what you're doing, how challenging do you find it?
Actually, I think the most challenging part of this is it's not being a woman, it's to be like, convinced that you have the strength, you have the capacity, you can do things and you can change the things. Once that you are convinced yourself, you can go. I think you can go everywhere. It's like, it's not a question or if you are a woman, if you are a man, or I don't know, whatever, whoever. I think I'm very much convinced that I can bring something to people, because this is something that really amazes me. And so I think if I'm convinced I can convince people. This is for me this point very important to understand. If you are not convinced yourself, you cannot convince people, and you cannot be like, someone that they want to invest on.
Yes, true.
I mean, not on financially, but
Yeah,
give you like responsibility or whatever.
that's very true. So along the way, have you found any kind of challenges to get to being able to discover who you truly wanted to be as a person?
Yes, actually, the most challenging part is because when I start with refugees, I was at the university and we were conducting some field survey. And so I started with homeless people. Then I started to go, it's a place in Paris, in north of Paris, and there is a lot of homeless people, and also there is a lot of migrants people. And then I start to talk to them. And so I was thinking that, okay, I have to come back to help these people because it's like, okay, I started with an association, very well known, a big one, just like a big name in France. And then I understand, and I was facing, it was the middle of the winter in December. We were missing resources like food, I mean, like, tents for furniture, yes, clothes. We didn't have like gloves for people, not enough. So I was like, but what we can do? And so they were telling me, but there is nothing to do. We have to wait the next delivery and say to people, it was like maybe 0 degrees outside, say them that they have to come back tomorrow. And then you are so much frustrated. You understand that it's not only the work of the association or the people that give, that making donation of clothes or everything. It's like, it's a bigger problem.
Oh, wow. So when you see a problem like this, how do you go back home in terms of not being able to solve that issue? How do you deal with that mentally?
Mentally, you have to understand that you cannot change the world in like this, but what is interesting to understand is that if the world is changing, and I think that COVID-19 just like bring to people a new vision, and this is the positive impact, because we can all have noticed that there is a lot of solidarity that we never seen before. And if this solidarity is now continuing, maybe we can think that more people involved can just help better. But also I think we need to build a world more solidaire, with more solidarity every day, because I think that NGO or government association cannot do all the things. It's solidarity is a mindset for me. And if someone, I think for me personally, I cannot go to NGO or association every day because I have a work, but you can help or do something positive for someone every day. It's not something that costs a lot, just like giving something to a homeless people or help someone, or maybe help someone in your neighborhood. It's just like, it's not a big deal, but something just positive. I think it's just a question of mindset, and we have to maybe to educate the next generation, the younger at school, or I don't know. There is something to do.
No, that's a good question, because that leads me on to my next question, which was about the solidarity. You said now more than ever, the world needs to be so we need to be together. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I stand with the UN and for freedom for all. So, in your opinion, what does freedom mean to you?
For me, freedom is the minimum that human being can have, or maybe must have. I don't know. For me, it's like we cannot live if we are not free. We have to. This is the minimum that human being should have. When you born, you are free and you can think free. And unfortunately, we are quite lucky in Europe, but it's not the case in the rest of the world. And I think we really need to fight for this freedom for all the people that unfortunately are not free because like journalists in the war situation, or I don't know. This is another, for me, another topic where people can help, like with social media, just like to just stand up all together, because actually we cannot like take off, or you, if you born free, you have to be free all your life. It's not something that we can just like lose.
Yeah, you said something very interesting, that solidarity will not be achieved by the NGOs, the government. I know you've touched on that, but do you believe that if it's not achieved by the NGOs, right, the government, so how can we work together to achieve it? Because the government can't do everything, as you really, and I'm sure it's really right. Neither can the NGO do everything. So how can we individuals who are not part of these organizations try to make a difference?
Okay. What I mean is that solidarity is not only the responsibility of government or NGO association, because I think sometimes some people think that they are paying taxes, and so this is not their own business. What is outside from their home is like, okay, it's not, I pay taxes, so the government should like take care of everything, or NGO. But NGO need more resources. Unfortunately, they cannot have all the resources that they would expect or they would need. So I mean, if government is just like on the top of the pyramid, helping, supporting association, NGO, and people are there to just help on the field, I think the things will go smoothly and everything will be okay. But I just mean in this that people should not think that they are disengaged, or they should not be involved in solidarity because we have a strong NGO or strong government. I think it's the responsibility of everyone. If you see someone who need help, you have to help.
Yes, that's true. And in doing your course, like for example, if I know someone who wants to do it, has that made a difference in communicating to the decision makers about findings on ground in your humanitarian work?
Yes, of course, because recently I contributing to a project writing on for the global idea of the project is to just making some recommendation for the future, the post-COVID-19, la relance. And so I contribute on the political and social part. And yes, I'm the same person, but if I won't be graduated, for sure, it will be more complicated to just uh, to access to this network actually. So yes, that's very helpful for me.
I love one thing I love you, Veronica. You might not know this, is that you're not just a woman that is on humanitarian who's doing this this course to help others, but you're also an influencer. You do so much, also in the fashion world. So, for example, and I saw a picture of you where you were you were with many talented individuals, and not to name names, but what have you learned in the fashion side with all the talented individuals you've met? You could name them, you could give their names if you want to, because you know them. What have you learned?
I'm very grateful to meet with some amazing people and very talented. And I would say what I've noticed is that determination, for sure. Really determination and probably also the visionary people. They have like a vision, sometimes totally different. That's really interesting. But I would really say determination for me is everything. When you really want to do something, just like sometimes you just see how just they came from nothing to just realize big things. It's just because they really believe in what they want to do.
So, if you're to acquire one of them as your mentor, do you have any particular one you want to do, or you could go from as many as possible? Do you have anybody, or not really?
Yes, I have someone that I really love, but it's because I'm very like involved in this humanitarian cause. Is Amal Clooney.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
And also the president of UNESCO in France, Audrey Azoulay. I really like who is she, what she's doing, this kind of woman, very strong. Um, yes, I think these two women really love their.
For young girls who are going to young girls listening to this interview right now, they will see how beautiful you are. Is it hard to balance beauty and being taken seriously in the workplace?
Actually, I think no, because yes, like discrimination is everywhere, and you cannot avoid people to think or to have a cliche. But my main objective is to just avoid cliche. I have, I think probably I have something strong from the beginning when I was child. I was like, I had determination, and I don't care about what people think. I mean, in the wrong way. I mean, like, I I dress. I think beauty, clothes, makeup, shoes, everything is like it's a mood. I think it's not define who you are, and I really believe in that. And if people think because you wear a very small skirt that you are someone else, I think it doesn't matter. What is important is that you are very aligned with who you are, and then you change your clothes, you change your makeup. It's like according to your mood and to your life as well.
That is so amazing. That is a very interesting way of looking at it, because when people talk about stereotype in the world, there's so many different kinds of stereotype. There's stereotype because you're tall, you're short, you're chubby. But I love your answer, because you have to be your own individual, and you have to find your own joy. What gives you your joy? What truly is your calling? And you just have to try and blank out the negative. I mean, something you do very well. And this is when you do that, you're able to succeed much better. So I like that about you. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So in terms of your line for the future, what are your hopes for the future in terms of what you want to do and achieve? Now you've achieved, and now you've finished this course you're doing. What is your hope for the future?
Just I really want to fight for cliche. I mean, all kind of cliche that, in particular for women, I think I want to demonstrate that you can be a woman, you can be smart, you can do beautiful things, and you doesn't change your femininity code. You are a woman and you assume your femininity, and this is like, I think this is how it should go smoothly for every woman. And my hope for women in particular, that it's like it's a kind of dream, but I would love to see every woman free to be married or not married, or just independent, to have the choice to do what they want. And also, one of my probably next topic I really want to work on is education for girls.
Oh, wow.
Because I think it's the future, and I think there is so much to do for the future to educate on education.
Our final question, because I can't leave you without asking you about COVID-19. You've seen the pandemic all around the world. You're on the humanitarian side. You've seen what's happening. How are people dealing with COVID-19 in the humanitarian side? And how are you helping people get by?
Oh, it's very, very complicated situation for association or NGO. It's even more complicated because they have to buy some hygiene materials and everything to just provide the same service or the same resources to the people. So it's like it's a challenge for a financial point of view first, and then we have seen all around the world that the most vulnerable people are even more vulnerable during the crisis. So this is unfortunately the reality of the most of probably all the NGO in the world and in France and the association as well, I guess.
Well, Veronique, thank you so much for your time. Your story, you're rich, such an inspirational person, and I'm so glad you took the time out to talk to me today, because I know we come across so many women and beautiful women, all kinds of women, but one of the things we don't have is that ability to tell our story in a positive way. We always feel shy and think we should miss out on it. But you just came and you told us your story. I'm absolutely gracious for that. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much.